Hey guys, I'm getting great feedback on my video series that came out, okay? So the biggest question that I'm getting is when people start taking food up off of the track, the dog's head starts coming up, okay? The biggest reason for this is the foundation work when you work with food and you start the process off with food. Food is the source, and if you stay with that source for a length of time, as soon as you start picking that source up, their head starts coming up because there's no reason for their nose to be on the ground anymore because the source left the ground. Everybody thinks that in the beginning stage, the dog is identifying the food and the footstep as the same. They are not. The food is more important for a long period of time than the footsteps. Okay, so think about it this way. Think about that your footstep is the bowl, and you're putting food in the bowl. Okay? So think about in the human terms that if you have a meal that you're getting ready to eat and somebody serves you on a plate, okay, you're not thinking about the plate. You're thinking about the food that's on the plate. So in a dog's brain, they're not thinking about the plate that's underneath that food, which is the footstep. They're thinking about the food. So in their brain, that's all they care about. They don't care about that footstep. So when that source starts coming up, so does their nose. This is one of the reasons in my system we take up food immediately and we teach them how to follow source 100% first. We only bring food back to teach them behaviors with it. Okay, so when we bring the food back to teach footstep tracking, to teach them the methodical behavior, they don't need food anymore. That means they understand how to track source way before we bring food back. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake everyone has. They leave food down too long, the food becomes the source, and then when the source comes off the ground, the dog gets confused. Yeah. So in this foundation work that I do with the dogs, they first learn how to follow source. So they never learn that effect of picking their head up and putting it into footstep, okay? Okay, so here we have a puppy here, just starting out with the food in every footstep, but watch his nose where it goes to footstep on the ground. So it doesn't pick its head up at all to get the food. It goes right across each footstep, staying its nose directly on the ground. If you watch here, watch his nose go straight across the next footstep, straight across the next footstep, straight across the next footstep. Okay, the reason for this is because the foundation work taught them first how to follow direct source, how to follow consistency of source, not go from footstep to footstep and interrupt source. So in their brain, they don't know how to interrupt source. The source, even on footstep, it's one, in their brain, it's just one line. Because they're going back and forth. It's almost like a magnetic effect. You watch his nose when it comes to here, and the other footstep pulls him to it. You see how the whole footstep pulls him into it? He's taking the entire footstep. Okay, he's starting from the heel and going to the toe. He's starting from the heel and he's going to the toe. Each footstep's the same, heel to toe, heel to toe. Okay, no interruption whatsoever with his head coming up and going into the footstep. It's all straight into it. Okay, now here's the line here that he's going to take, that's direct source, which is just a straight source pocket for him, where he just follows. And this is the foundation here. This is why they track the way they track, okay, where their nose never leaves the ground. So this is very important. This is their foundation. It's very hard to teach this great foundation when you're interrupting source, when you're doing footstep to footstep tracking, and that's their foundation, because to do footstep to footstep tracking, they're only going from food to food. They're not actually learning source yet. Here, before we actually teach them footstep tracking, they already understand how to follow source. They already understand how to follow a straight line of source. So that's why you see this puppy here. Watch his nose. It just grazes from here, and it's going, it's collecting the entire footstep if you watch. Okay, see this? It goes right into the entire footstep. Now it's coming to another drag. This drag here is 100% source with no food in it. And you see how his nose stays with it the entire time it follows it? It's pouring outside right now, so we decided to do this inside. I was going to show you a demonstration outside, but we chose not to because it's a hurricane happening outside right now. So I was explaining a little bit about the magnetic effect. This is what I'm talking about. So think about these two magnets as footsteps. So when one footstep comes close to the next footstep, it connects the dots. So if this footstep comes close to this footstep, it connects the dot. And that's how the magnetic effect works in my system. Okay, footstep connecting to footstep. So the nose is the magnet and the connection is the source. So think about this being the dog's nose and this being the source, and when it comes up to a certain level of it, the magnetic effect takes place and they connect the dots. Okay, that's how tracking works. Just like that.